Hiya, welcome to LSB Feasters Radio Channel and Travel Corner. Our mission in life, keeping great radio from the past alive. And today, we're going to Washington and 106.7 WJFK and Don and Mike. In fact, the final Don and Mike show. For over 20 years, Don and Mike were a force on the radio from December 1985 until April 11th, 2008. The pair had a zany radio show originally on WAVA, the WAVA Morning Zoo. Then in 1991, they moved over to WJFK, where they took over the afternoon show. And in addition to Don and Mike, you also had Buzz Burbank, who did news, and Robb Spewak, who served as the show's intern. The show featured parody songs, comedy bits, and lots of listener games and listener phone interaction. It was a fun show. In later years, Don's wife, Frieda, joined in on the fun on the show. And the show became pretty popular. So popular, in fact, the show became syndicated and was heard coast to coast. Sadly, in 2005, Don's wife, Frieda, lost her life in a car accident. Now, the show went on for a couple more years, but truth be told, Don's heart just wasn't really in it after he lost his wife, and he was also unhappy with some things that were going on in the radio industry at the time. So, he said he was leaving the show, and he did his final show in 2008. Here is the final Don and Mike show. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, too, if you like. All right, let's go back to 2008, the final Don and Mike show on 106.7 WJFK, Washington.
Welcome to our show.
Hey.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Right. Here we are.
Hi.
So,
It sounds different. Have they been messing with it?
Of course.
can you believe Michael Johns was voted off American Idol?
I put my hands together.
Hello?
Hello?
I agree with what Rob said. He was voted off because he was wearing an ascot.
Hello?
Hello?
We'll play that version. Hello? I'm just going to play a couple of songs in their entirety today. This one to start.
Okay.
To start the festivities. And I do appreciate you listening. This is the very last Don and Mike show, and it is Friday, April 11th. Look how far we've come.
Waking up at the start of the end of the world.
Damn right.
All right, there you go. Yeah! Start today, Matchbox 20. And this is the last Don and Mike show. Thanks a lot for listening. Where you guys been?
I just wanted to say,
Where you been? I've been here every day for 2 weeks.
we've been around. We've been traveling in Thailand.
Where you been? Okay, hi. Welcome to the show. Here's where we're at. For those of you wondering what the frig is going on.
What is going on?
Well, what's going on
No one's
is,
told me anything.
Michael Johns was voted off American Idol last
Because
night.
he was wearing an ascot.
And my athlete's foot is back. I actually went to a podiatrist.
Again?
Yeah, I went to a podiatrist, though. Mike, this is for you. One of the last nuggets I'll give you.
Were you going to show me the toe?
No, I'm just going to tell you. It's not on the toe. It's on my foot.
All right.
And I have a form of athlete's foot called moccasin athlete's foot from wearing moccasin slippers that do not allow enough air for my feet to ventilate.
Well, you know, the whole getting ready for this show today, you further my feelings of total nostalgia because I've been thinking back on, you know, we've talked so many times about all the different things we've done, and we've gone back and replayed a lot of the stuff we've done this week. But when you talk about certain stories, you know, an indelible memory of you in this show will be when we went out to Los Angeles. And
That's your memory, Mike. That's a memory that
Well,
that
I'm
you
sharing
have.
it. I'm sharing it. And, of course, going out to the Arsenio Hall show. And to my right was a former engineer that we worked with, a gentleman, wonderful, talented engineer by the name of Nick Rosenoff, who, aside from being a very talented engineer,
He had no sense of smell.
he had a tremendous problem with breath.
Wow.
With breath odor. And
he
it
had
was
death breath.
And so I was dealing with an excited guy who was at a television show, so he was babbling in my ear, and I was getting the death breath. And to my left, Don had his moccasins without socks on.
Yeah.
And when you kick those moccasins off,
Not that I'm keeping track of this, but this is almost 15 years ago now you're talking about.
I believe you went for an itch then. I think you were kicking the moccasin off to go for a little pre-Arsenio scratch.
Maybe so. You know,
I all I know is the combination of both and a slightly warm television studio. He did not keep his TV studio like Letterman does, and it was just a.
Well, there you go.
And it's memories like that make me want to cry today.
There's my growth as a person. That now, here I am in 2008. I actually went to a foot doctor for the first time ever.
You have moccasin athlete's foot?
Which is easily treatable with a fungal thing that you get over the counter. And he said,
you don't have to go for the real expensive stuff that makes your nails.
But my bottom was bleeding. Bleeding.
I was bleeding to death.
Okay, hi everybody. This is Don and Mike Show. This is our last show together, and here's why we're at this point right now. It was about a year ago that I informed CBS that I was going to be knocking off at the end of May. And we have a signed document that said that. And there were things happening in my life, all good things, that led me to believe around the time that we were going to take our vacation almost a month ago, that I just felt the time was right for me to cut out, that I thought we were doing real good, funny shows, and Mike and everybody was set with their deal. And I even said to Michael Hughes, our de facto general manager, right before...
Thank you, Rob.
Right before we went on vacation, I said to him, seriously...
Some of us will still be working for him.
I said, you can save 2 weeks' salary if we just accelerate this right now. And he said, no, take 2 weeks and think about it. So this was not a shock to CBS. Came back. Here's the deal. I was so happy on this vacation, not because I went anywhere exotic. I didn't. But because something that I've noticed recently when I'm away from the show is I'm not taking my meds. And I'm talking about the anxiety med and the med to go to sleep at night and
medicine for schizophrenia.
Yeah, right. All right. My Elvis bottles of medicine for my many, many, many maladies. Some of them not
the cocktail.
Oh, I know.
The AZT cocktail, yes. I like mine with olives up, stirred, never shaken. That's right.
You go away from the show and you no longer have to take your many meds.
So anyway, in all seriousness, I'm going to try to get my voice together here.
Okay.
This happens to me when I get emotional.
I know, and we're all going to try. We're all going to hang in there.
So bear with me. This is really about Sweet Frieda, and I'm going to be delicate talking about this at the beginning of the show because this is a cold reality that Frieda has passed away, and it's been nearly 3 years. And I have met a wonderful woman. I've been so blessed by God. I don't know what I did to have one angel in my life for 25 years and then think I was never going to find anybody else. And I swear to God to you, this woman came out of nowhere, wanted nothing from me, didn't know me from Adam. And I found, and I truly believe that God arranged for Janet to come into my life. She has been so well received by my family, and I've not talked about the growing pains that she's had to endure with my family, like, over 2 years ago where Bart was downright rude to her and people were indifferent because it's what happens after someone passes away. So keeping in mind that doing this show specifically with you guys here, with Mike, Buzz, Rob, everybody that's worked on the show, it is a reminder to me of Frieda. And that's why after Frieda died, the company came to me when I was going to quit, I think the second time, and they threw around even, how would you guys like to be on in the morning? And that didn't happen, but they built us these nice new studios because I needed a change. And I thought that a change either in time slot or in venue would make my thoughts about Frieda go away. But I found out that it's not time slot and it's not what building I'm broadcasting in. It's where I'm at emotionally with the guys on the show and with you, everybody that's listening.
With the actual process of doing the show.
Right. Yeah. Now, this is hard because Frieda was a part of the show for a long time. And there's a lot of people out there that love and remember Frieda, as I do and I will every day in my life. But there's also, in my opinion, a segment of the audience, and I know because they've spoken to me in person, that just finds something not quite right about me being with somebody else. And it may be my perception of this, I think I understand the perception of people out there and of situations. You don't know what it's like when you lose somebody. And I lived my life on the radio with Frieda, and we're doing a show where I'm living my life now. And I think I've mentioned this before. When I talk about Janet or I talk about my life, it's so reminiscent to me, of when I talked about Frieda.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing that I would ever want to do is cheapen Frieda's memory or my future that I have with Janet. So for a while I thought, well, I just won't talk about my life on the show. And that didn't work out very well. And when we were on vacation, like on the 6th day, I turned to Janet and I said, I'm just so happy with you and happy with the way that our lives are. I just don't know if I can go back and do it. And I mean, I could do it. I could come in here and fake it. And I'm leaving a lot of money behind even in 2 months. But it's not about money. It's about being loyal to you, the listeners, and to the guys in this room. And the truth is, it's just time for me to move on. Because I can't get a fresh start here. Because every time we do anything, we still have a button right here that's labeled Frieda. All right, promise me, I ain't being a martyr here. But I've never mentioned it to the guys. Think about when I look to my right hand, press that button every single time. I'm pressing a button that says Frieda.
Right.
Now, I could say to somebody, hey, change that. But that wouldn't stop.
That feels weird too, right?
For instance, when the hotline rings, working with you guys on this show, it is my first thought, it'll be Frieda calling in.
Right.
Even as recent as this past vacation, we're having dinner in Ocean City, and somebody very nice came up and had said they really like listening to the show. And I got a request that I get an awful lot. Do you know where I can get a tape of the show you did about Frieda? And it was a combination of all of these things where finally the light bulb just went off, and I said, now's time.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it could be bad. The last thing I want to do is rock the apple cart to make this an uncomfortable show. I've already felt that the fact that I was leaving, I had told Mike a while ago that I felt like Tiki Barber, the New York Giant who had announced he was leaving and then was hanging around for the rest of the year. And you guys are moving on with something else, which, as you know, I wholeheartedly endorse. I'm thrilled for you. Ecstatic you got Beth Ann back.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I just got the feeling everybody would be okay here. So why should I postpone the rest of my life? I've been given a unique chance by God not to be alone. Because after Frieda died, I thought I was going to be alone. Because I'm not an easy person to live with. And I am set in my ways.
I disagree with that. I take issue with that.
And I am set in my ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it really
take issue with that, too.
Took a unique person like Janet to make me realize that there could be life after Frieda. And she's been marvelous. Marvelous. I mean, seriously. The things that she's, our house is a shrine to Frieda. Big Frieda is very much a part of my life and very much a part of Janet's life. And there's a lot of stuff happening in my life as well over the next month, of which I don't have any control over. For instance, my son graduates college next month. As it turns out, I would have to take 2 days off the show for that. He's graduating on a Friday morning at 9:30. I got to fly out the day before. You miss 2 days there. My daughter is going to have major spinal surgery in the month of May. She'll be in the hospital for at least 7 days. I would have to cut out for a whole week there. We were sitting looking at all of these things and actually came up with a plus and minus chart. And the plus that I kept coming back was that I love radio and I love doing this show, but there are too many things that are conflicting right now in my head that I can't go with what has made me successful, going with my gut. Because right now, for the last, 6-7 months, my gut has been saying, now's the time. Really, now's the time. Don't embarrass yourself. And don't be afraid about saying to people, I'm sorry if you're let down that I'm leaving. I appreciate it. I'm truly humbled by a lot of the stuff that I've seen, like on the WJFK website.
Right.
Frankly, if I would have known you felt that way, I wouldn't be leaving.
Now, don't go and say that.
But now that I do, I still am.
Yeah.
And it's very gratifying. But that's where I'm at. I just felt for this show, it would be one thing if we were going to fold up the tents and pack everything in. But being as the show will continue in a new evolution with Mike and everyone else, I felt like I was a dead weight. So the easiest thing to do was just put things into motion. And it caught the station a little bit off guard, even though Hughes had been given some notice on this a couple of weeks in advance. And I felt like the weight of the world was off my shoulders, because I have lived my entire life in radio the last 35 years because I love this business so much. So my passion has been, I get up in the morning, it's the first thing I think about. First thing I think about, what are we going to do on the show today? I love writing notes about things to talk about. I love talking about pop culture and everything that's happening. I can't share everything, and I want to, and I feel like if I stay, I would have more resentment than I do now towards the job, and I only have resentment towards the job because of feelings about Frieda. Mm-hmm. Sorry to be long-winded about this.
No, I think you got a lot of people in this room that you and I have talked a little bit, and that's the first time we've heard you explain it like that. And I've been reflecting about the way it's been, and usually in many circumstances you think about somebody that undergoes the tragic loss that you've gone through, and I feel gratified that even with the circumstances being what they are, that all of us are walking away from this situation whole. We are all walking away whole. And really, I'll be honest with you, I think I agree with you that I said if this thing was to continue, perhaps that wouldn't be the case. And I think there's not a person in here, your radio family, the people that are here, that I know I speak for all the guys when we understand completely where you're coming from, because you know what? As much as we didn't go through it, and we didn't, and that's an important distinguishing factor here, we did not go through what you went through. But you know something? We were there. We were right there, and we saw it, and we witnessed it, and we felt it as best as we could under the circumstances.
Right.
And, when somebody goes through what you've gone through, in many cases, that destroys relationships. I mean, marriages. It destroys, it destroys relationships between siblings. It destroys everything, and it didn't. I mean, you did survive this and come out on the other end, and I look at this as your final step in coming out on the other end of this.
Thanks. And that, Mike, that's exactly it. I mean, if you look at, especially, my goodness, since you and I have worked together, which is now many more years than I worked solo, if you were a regular listener of the show, Frieda was identified with the show. You still, if you turn the show on now and you didn't know what would happen, you might think of her.
We had a
imagine
function that we went to the other night. I think I mentioned to you. I mean, that's when I would be talking to Frieda, when we go to a social event together, and she was still very much. And it makes sense when you say to us, being here reminds you of that every day, and makes it almost impossible for you to move on. That speaks very loudly to me. I understand where you're coming from.
It's not that I don't like radio. I'm sure I'll get back on this horse again someday, but I won't do this type of show. I don't think ever again. I'm so proud of the things that we have accomplished on this show that it would be dumb to try to recreate it, but there's a spot for me somewhere in radio down the road. I mean, the nice people at this company has been pretty good to me. I got to be honest. I like saying they're dumbasses. Generally speaking, they are. But they've been very, very patient with me through my starts and stops. And even today, I had just a wonderful conversation with Dan, the president of the company, and it was left like the door's open.
Nice.
Not that I'm going to come back through that door, because really, if I work anywhere next, it'll either be in Ocean City, Maryland, or for the BBC. I am not kidding you.
Nice say, old chap.
I am not kidding you.
Wow.
I speak the gospel truth here.
That's cool.
It's in my contract. I can work without fear of that stupid thing where you
Non-compete.
can't.
Yeah.
They'll let me work in Ocean City, Maryland.
Both with the same amount of listeners,
Yeah.
which
And as much as I am excited about the thought, and it's just a wild thought that I'll never do about going to London and being on BBC One or whatever it is I talked to the guy about. Every time I've talked to him about it, it would be a record type format.
Cool.
yeah, you'd play records.
Being a smart ass between the records. Every time I came back and would talk about that, and I'm talking about a year, 2 years down the road,
Right.
I still come back to it. Yeah, sure, it sounds great, except it's not America.
Yeah.
So I really don't think.
You hated it over there. We've been over there.
Yeah, but
Do you remember when we looked for Taco Bell?
it's a good environment for radio.
Would the BBC let you work from Ocean City?
I've not had that discussion, Buzz.
You might think about it.
Not
The
had
BBC. The BBFC. This is London.
No, I'd be the ugly American. They love that.
You'd be like House in reverse.
No, you know me with my inflated ego. I'd go and I'd be the American Simon Cowell.
It might happen.
I got the big man boobs. I'm highly opinionated. I got a bad haircut.
I got you the shirts.
It'd be funny to turn that in the other direction. You suck. How would that go over?
Anyway, all of that is just spitballing down the road. Don't know that I do still love radio, and I will talk about that later when we get to that point of the show. But I hope everybody understands where I'm coming from on this. I speak for everybody, but being it's my last day, I really will monopolize the conversation and say I sincerely appreciate everything that every one of our listeners has ever done for us. There is no doubt that Mike and I would not be here right now without all of you mouth breathers. So sincerely, thank you. It has been humbling. I'm so glad I'm not going to be here on Monday.
That's nice.
And it's you.
That's really nice.
You got to stay with them on Monday. With all these people.
Well, it's an interesting relationship we've always had. We love them. We hate them. We like them. We don't like them. But they're what makes the show go.
We love
You
to
know
hate 'em.
that really is. That's the way it works.
Oops. Forgot to turn the microphone on. Nothing but respect for our listeners, and we do thank you. Because Mike and I have accomplished a lot of stuff that I don't think is going to be redone in Washington radio.
Forever.
I am so happy that, at least in this market, Washington, D.C., I've been either on my own at WPGC when I worked at nights, or with Mike and I when we did mornings, middays, and afternoons. I've had the pleasure of being rated number one in every single time slot in Washington, D.C. radio. I did one before I met Mike, and then the other three with Mike. And we've had one hell of a run for every time that we've been written off and every time that someone is ready to throw another pile of dirt on us.
Right.
We rise like a phoenix, and the reason that we rise like the phoenix is because our listeners are devoted. And they listen to every single word, and they listen longer than people listen to any other radio show.
In
For
many
that-
cases, they take it more seriously than we do. And, sometimes we've gotten annoyed at that. But, you're blessed when you have that doing this kind of a show. When people take it that seriously, this tiny little radio show that on the world stage, we're just a blip of it.
We are dick.
We really, really are. But here, and we've talked about it a lot. And you did nights, and we're number one at night when you were at PGC. But the fact that you and I together have been number one in mornings, middays, and afternoons, that's a hell of an accomplishment. Yeah. And I think because of the nature of you and I and the way we conduct ourselves, it probably does not get the kind of coverage that one would really expect it to get. But the fact is,
we're not gracious winners.
We're not gracious winners, and you know what? By design and also by necessity, we have had to toot our own horn over the years. We truly have, and that's the only way it gets tooted. And I think people ought to know that, especially when you've got all the speculation about what's happening.
There's the toot.
That's tooting our own horn.
But before we get going here, and we'll say goodbye to each person on the show as we continue today, and we'll peel it down eventually to just me and Mike, and then just down to me as the lights go down.
Do you want us to stay in the building when it's just you?
Oh, no. Get in your cars and leave.
All right.
Lick the
Please,
windows.
Get in your cars and leave. Mike, I was writing a list of some of the people that we've had the pleasure of working with. The ones that come to my mind that I'd like to thank up front are producers Frank Murphy, Diana Silman, the plaintiff, Beth Ann McBride, Rob, and also Yanni. And we've had so many other talented people on the show. The late David Haynes.
Yep.
Sherry Elliker, an incredible talent. Maybe the most talented woman I've ever met in radio. Kim Anderson.
Kim Boomer Anderson.
Beautiful. Dumb as a box of rocks.
God, did we all want her? Did we desire that woman?
Do you remember her woodcrafting boyfriend, Johan, or whatever that doofus's name was?
This guy.
His Holland name.
He was Mr. Cabinet Maker.
Sven.
And we wanted to kill him simply because she was so hot.
Sure.
One of those guys who would always wear the big, like, Old Spice type mock turtleneck.
He'd wear the cable knit sweater.
Yeah. God, we hated him.
We hated him because we were hot for her.
Dave Schreiber, one of our many news guys.
Dave Schreiber, a man who would actually go into department stores and get the cologne samples from the counter. So he wouldn't have to buy cologne.
Had a lifelong dream of being a clown.
Dave-O the Clown, we gave him that chance one day where we took him out to a Fairfax County park. And
Dave-O the Succo Clown.
Dave-O the Succo Clown.
Gosh, we've had a lot of people behind the scenes help us. Ken Martin, when we did the Morning Zoo. And
Now you've made Mike spit out his
I
water.
know, because he's the guy that cried when he got fired. And then they rehired him. And we all
You caught me by surprise.
we all had to pretend
You caught me by
that
surprise
we weren't
on that
just
one.
mocking him for crying when he was fired.
He was a good guy.
Mike is the first one to get emotional.
Sorry about that. In the wrong way. I know I'm supposed to be emotional in a different way.
And I'll say this, too. The first of many queers we've had work on this show. And they've all been treated with love and respect.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
Pass on to you.
absolutely not.
Sure.
Paul Turner, our first voice guy.
The big guy, Billy Big Voice, worked for Channel 9, too.
What a good friend of ours Paul Turner was. And, of course, our current voice man, Dude Walker.
Probably, in my opinion, one of the nicest men I have ever met in the business.
Mm-hmm. You know, as I look back at this list of producers that we had, I think old Frank, goddamn, we ran Frank like a drug mule. We had Frank going and getting us food. We had him dropping off our dry cleaning. We had him taking our cars to the car wash, and we also expected to have 5 guests a day.
We yelled at him all the time. More than probably, I think we yelled less over the years. I think we got tired of yelling behind the scenes. Frank got the brunt of it from both of us, you know.
Frank got us when we were really full of piss and vinegar.
He grew to hate us,
when we
and then he
thought-
grew to love us again, which is what they most of them do.
Poor Frank, when you know, just when we thought we could get no more popular, we had more insane jobs for him to do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one day,
Some of them actually related to the show.
like at 10 a.m. I'm ready to leave, and he's gonna be there till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and have a 3-hour drive home, driving all the way to Great Falls. And it was Dale City, wherever the hell he lived. He lived out by.
He lived in Dale City, I believe.
Yeah, whatever. I live in Great Falls. Everybody knows that. All you lurkers know that.
Mm-hmm.
The guy would have an incredible commute at the end of the day, and Mike and I would leave very early. I would give him jobs like, okay, make sure you clean up the desk area. Now, tomorrow, remember, we want orange Tic Tacs. Really? And I make him write this stuff down.
Sure. Well, it was you cut your teeth
Yeah.
on that being the rule in radio. When you had the people, the interns, that's the way it worked.
He was our producer. He was a great one. Diana Silman had a ton of energy. Just a real spark plug.
She had amazing energy. She really probably pulled the greatest practical joke on me that was ever pulled in my radio career by putting the dildo in the front of my
The
car.
Bulldog. Yep, Diana was fantastic. She's living in Chicago now. I still have contact with her. Her husband, I think, works at the Palm.
Oh, good.
Chicago. The plaintiffs, well, all right, not everything's great. Beth Ann, what can I say? Love Beth Ann. So glad that you're bringing her back.
I'm not really sure I can second that one.
How talented she is.
Trial period.
And then, of course, there's...
Yeah, Don, I didn't mention that. It's a trial run.
that's good news for you, Rob.
It is. I mean, I could be the producer for a 4th time.
First time with Mike.
Hey, you're gonna be a producer. She's not coming until the end of next week. So she because
5 more
this
days of magic.
because of the well, you know how everything happened,
You
and
know.
You know.
she's coming in a week from Monday. That's the way I understand it. So, Rob, technically,
You got it for a week, Robbie. It's yours for a week,
this will be
buddy.
yours for a week.
And that gives her 5 days to tan.
Don't F it up.
Don't screw it up.
You got one chance. One chance there, boy.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Sure there, boy.
Sure there.
Oh, boy. You miss talking like that there, boy?
Yeah.
You know what I find myself doing now?
What?
We've not been on the air like for a month.
Yeah.
If I'm in a store, I don't talk like Larry King, but I find myself using Larry King-isms like, seriously, when I went to buy this Matchbox 20 CD that had that song, I said, this is Matchbox 20, right? Right? And the reason I question is that it used to be Matchbox and then the number 20.
Kind of a natural Larry way.
Now they spell it out, but it's like, this is Matchbox 20, right?
Right there. You'll put that in the bag for me, right?
Also something like when I'm in a store and looking at the door where it says open at 10, close at 6. You're open till 6, right?
Larry, it's that naked curiosity. It works.
And the other thing is, yeah, sure there, boy.
Yeah.
May I be struck by lightning the next time I say that to someone who has absolutely no idea. Like when I'm leaving the bank today. Have a nice day. Sure there, boy.
Sure there, boy.
Sure there, boy.
And it's, we created over the years many of our own verbal crutches.
True.
Different accents, different ways of talking for different circumstances to mask our genuine insecurity. It's true.
It is true. It is true.
So what are you guys going to do on your first show?
Larry King.
I have no idea. I haven't really given it much thought. You're laughing?
No, I'm laughing because I know it's true.
Nervously.
No, I as I said, you might be, Don, you might be surprised to know that I've had to do a number of conference calls since all this has come down, reassuring the legions of advertisers. And one of the things I said, and I meant this, and I know the guys will back me up on this, is I said, I truly, truly look forward to continuing the relationship with Buzz Burbank, Robb Spewak, and Beth Ann McBride as they work their butts off to produce a very, very good show.
Remember, Mike, you're a pal at Fair Oaks Dodge.
I really think with their hard work, and I emphasize with their hard work,
Your new show can succeed.
I believe that my new show will be very successful with their hard work, and they know this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe I heard you say you are going to work a little harder.
I already have. Frankly, I've already done a year's worth.
So you're done.
Well, I mean, for the immediate future. I mean, I got it started.
Got the ball rolling.
No, I've got. I think we've got some fine programs for next week. But don't make me crazy. All
Don't
right,
pin him down.
really. No, I've got some. I'm not going to discuss it on today's show because this is not the time
I
and
understand.
place.
I'm just
But
screwed anyway.
because I've told you. Because
Mike's
I've,
got it covered.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
I've
it's going to be wall-to-wall bits. Like walking into a circus show, a fun show, the crazy mirror house.
You know what? What I would be foolish to do.
I hear it's going to be better than The Office.
What? Oh,
Cool.
God. I love that show so much.
Is that show a slow burn?
I swear to God.
The
I mean,
best.
to get a show back on the air
So many
after,
things.
after the writer's strike that you laugh out loud at for the entire show. I mean, that was such a gift last night. I never call a television show a gift, but that was just a laugh riot.
It was.
No, what I was going to say was that the dumbest thing for me to do, and the thing I think that I've done over the years when you haven't been here, I try to recreate that. But one of the things that I think the audience, and this is, if I can get just serious for a second, because I've got a few other things I want to say, but this is important. Okay, this is something I want the listening audience to know about you that they may or may not know. But the desire, and it came from somewhere where I don't know where that spot is, the desire to lay yourself bare each and every day. I mean, no matter what it was. I mean, it was there every day, and that's what you do. And so when you explain the fact that I can't do it like I used to, that makes sense to me more than it, because I witness this every single day. And that's the thing that I know I will miss personally.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that any show, mine, anybody else is going for, that's the element that will never be there. Because you know what? Nobody laid themselves out there like you did. Right. And that's really what I'm going to miss the most, is just sitting over there. Just like you would miss certain things that we all do. There are elements that we all contribute. But I'll tell you something. That's the part I will miss, where I would just look at you and go, oh, my God, you are sharing that. You are really sharing that. And to a fault, and to a fault, sure, because you would put situations on the air that would result in a tremendous amount of hardship for you personally, with family members, with friends, and all that. And I still don't think anybody does it like that. I really, and I'm going to miss that. I really am.
Thank you, Mike. And that's really that. Like I said before, that's the crux of why.
That's what you can't do anymore. And I understand that more. And when you said you don't want to end up resenting all of us because we're all here, and you don't want to be doing that, and you know you can't do that in good conscience anymore. I understand that.
Makes sense.
Completely. I really do.
You're all reminders. And incidentally, can I just tell you, this man got me the greatest going away present ever.
Aw, shucks.
Michael Mara got me a unicycle.
You always wanted one.
You know, I've been down to the ocean, and I've seen the elderly people down there in the winter.
Now, allow me a moment in front of everyone to embarrass you. Imagine my surprise today. This was Mike worked this out with Janet. This morning about 11 o'clock, this unmarked black van comes pulling on my driveway. The Chinaman shows up at the door. Right? He looks like Hank Hill's neighbor. So maybe Vietnamese, whatever.
Bobby?
Oh, you done? Mike. Yes, can I help you? He said, I have your Vespa scooter. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it was like being on a game show because the guy said, don't you know? Mike O'Mara got this for you. Here's the title. Here's all the papers. Here's the registration. Let's take it out and take it for a ride.
Wow.
What a fabulous going-away gift. I thank you so much, Mike.
That was in the back of my mind. It was actually there was something different in the back of my mind that I was thinking about. That was also a two-wheeled form of
Janet told me, see, this was
transportation. This was over the bottles of wine when we went to the JB Awards last Friday.
That I guess you threw out. I found out today. You both did a real good job of keeping it a secret. That you were going to get me a motorcycle, and thank God you didn't, because I'm just not coordinated enough.
Yeah, she said, you like your comfort zone is on this thing, and she did all the legwork as far as getting me the numbers of the dealerships. And
you
all
got
this.
the one that goes 85 miles an hour. I said to the guy today, I said, I'm going to need you to transport this to Ocean City, and he said, well, no, it's got tags. You can drive it on the Beltway, drive it on Route 50. I said, I'm not driving this thing on a 4-lane highway.
Over the Bay
Oh, and
Bridge.
incidentally, for the Vespa dealership down
thank you, Mike.
in Rehoboth, Delaware, that I called, I believe, on Monday. Thank you for calling me back about 2 hours ago, and enjoy your trip to Italy. Seriously.
It's where they make them,
Yeah, well, I guess he's going over there to look at them.
That was a wonderful gift. And like I told you off the air, and I'll tell you now, that's great. I love you, and thank you very much.
Right back at you, and I hope you enjoy that. And do me one favor.
Yes.
When we obviously we will maintain contact over the years, but one thing I would request would be, just when you get to have Janet do it, take a picture of you when it's moving. I want to see you with a helmet and put it in an envelope. And
frankly, when you're done,
I'm
I'm hoping that you and I either have. Here's the way that I really envisioned us ending the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like either like Butch and Sundance,
right,
where we just jump off that mountain,
right,
or like Thelma and Louise.
Sure, whether you just press the accelerator,
just drive the car off the cliff.
Yeah, well, I'm not far behind you.
Well,
whenever
you're ready, let me know.
And depending on how things go,
You'll talk Tuesday.
I'll talk to you Tuesday.
I'd rather go the Butch and Sundance route than the Thelma and Louise route.
Seriously, I'm filled with mixed emotions. Is there a level of excitement about, as you've always said to me, hey, if you want to spread your wings, spread your wings. Yes and no, but I mean, you're talking about over 2 decades, and that's a long time. You get, and you know what? I'm doing a lot better here than I did Friday night when we were at the JB Awards, because that, when we used to get together and do those little dog and pony shows, wherever we would go, that's when our group was not performing for anybody on the radio, but that's when we were all performing for each other. Mm-hmm. And it was hysterical, and it still is. And I hope we can have moments like that as time goes by to get together and do that again. I think we really ought to make a point of doing it.
And man, does Bill Cowher spit. When you get right up in his face. I had the opportunity to meet this guy at this JB Awards thing we were at this past week.
I would have, but I was speaking to a friend of mine. I don't know what the brand name of wine it was, but Mike couldn't trouble himself from getting up from the table while he was enjoying his wine.
You were not the only one. Were you aware when Robb got up? Robb goes to the garçon, whoever the waiter.
We drank an S load of wine.
Robb says we want some more wine, and the guy says we don't have any more wine, Robb just leaves and starts taking wine off people's table and comes back with 3 extra bottles of wine.
And I want to thank everyone for not drinking their wine.
Oh, God.
You know, it was cold that night, right?
Yeah,
Remember,
it was cold.
like 50 degrees?
Chilly, right?
I went home on the toll road. I had the windows down in my car, and I was still sweaty. I hurt until Monday.
Jeez.
So thank you. It was a lovely evening until I started sweating.
So drunky.
Oh, yeah.
So proud.
Yeah, so
proud. Okay, we got a break. We'll be back for this, the final Don and Mike show. More coming right.
This is the Don and Mike Show. This is the Don and Mike Show.
That's why the bosses sent me out here. They wanted me to make sure none of the other crews robbed the joint. Like these 2 balloon heads over here. They were going to try to bang us out of 200 grand? Yeah, right, I'm sure.
The Don and Mike Show.
Yeah, right, I'm sure. What's happening, Simon?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't look at the whole.
Oh.
You're right.
Simon.
They don't care. Don Geronimo and Mike O'Mara.
Simon.
What about the vagina?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't look at the whole.
Stop it.
I think we've all known that about Simon for a long time.
I'm not happy.
I know you're not happy, Paula. Hi, this is the Don and Mike Show. This is the last Don and Mike Show. And we're here. This is the part. We're here. We're in control now, gentlemen.
Everything is in control.
How about that crazy reflection in Chinese sunglasses?
Yeah, I was watching that today with my new favorite show, Hoda and Kathy.
Yeah. I'll save that for you guys. The joy that is Kathy Lee Gifford. I did notice, though, that...
You have gotten a chance to look in.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so horrible.
Yes. You know, I've almost forgotten where some of these buttons are. How long has it been since we've been here?
It was 1988.
88, summer of 88.
There you go. There's the Kathy C. Gifford button. Oh, as soon as I saw her doing that thing where she makes the face to the camera and
Does it every day now.
and puts the lip out like, I'm just the crazy klutz.
It was so nice to see that our friend Tom Shales in the Washington Post immediately jumped on that bandwagon. And, he's been waiting for her just like we have.
Going to mention that, and really, yeah, they pulled him off the shelf to say, listen, Tom, please come write something off about Kathy Lee, but I will leave that for you guys.
Very good.
All the American Idol stuff that we were just talking about off the air.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's stuff for Monday.
Right.
Really?
You can leave any notes you have.
Really? Buzz,
he wants to write the show for Monday. See, I understand why you're leaving, but there is a part of you I know that's it's tough. It's tough.
Are you kidding me? I'm
it's very difficult.
As much as I was just telling you, it's the right thing for me to do. I'm torn. I love doing this. I love doing radio, but I love doing this type of radio with you guys. As I mentioned, it's
and that is the most fun part is talking about everything that's going on around us. We love that.
It's conflicting, but I'm working through it. Robb Spewak, step up, boy, step up there, boy. This is where we bid adieu to Robb.
So proud.
Thank you, Robb.
See you later.
Bye-bye. Drive carefully.
Be sure to break in 15 minutes.
Got it under control, Robbie.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned, like peeling an onion, one by one, we're going to peel the layers back of this show. Oh, instantly, Joe, you don't get a layer, but bye, Joe, I love you.
Thank you, Don. Is this where I say April Fools?
Right. There you go.
Joe should be really count himself very fortunate. So I just want to say that.
So we're going to have Robb in here for a while, and then Robb will leave, and then we'll do a break with Buzz, and Buzz will leave, and then we'll do a couple with Mike and I. And then it'll just...
I thought I was leaving when Robb was...
be me and my big fat mouth. So, Robb, you joined the show, and you're such the historian.
You know the date, don't you? Do you know the year?
April 2nd, 1992.
As what? As an unpaid intern?
Yes, well, that was when I was just outside. I came in for an interview and ended the day in a wig and a bra, screaming. And
How many years prior to that had you listened to our morning show and called in as Jimmy Stewart?
I listened to Don. I mean, I remember Don on PGC, but I also I listened to Don in the afternoon, so I listened to the first day of the Morning Zoo.
So you listened to that, and then was the first day of the Morning Zoo, and that Christmas, was that when you would call?
Probably, yeah. Well, I tell you how long ago it was, is that when my voice changed, I couldn't do the Jimmy Stewart anymore, so it was before my voice changed.
And a lot of the tapes that were played during the last week were from your own personal collection.
Yeah, my dad used to tape and send it to me in college. I had some that I had taped in high school.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun going through them. So I hope people enjoyed what we played.
I
It was
heard
cool.
great reviews that you were able to dig up some stuff, some of the really old stuff.
Yeah.
It was nice to know, like with all the vacation time we've taken over the years, that a lot of people were clamoring for the fact that they should have played that vintage stuff way back when.
He's had it all along.
Yeah.
He's had it forever.
He's had all of it.
You only eat turkey at Thanksgiving, Mike. You know,
So would it be safe to say, Rob, that you had somewhat of an obsession with this show?
I'll say this. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, really, I really got into the business for what it is because of your show and because of listening to you guys, and so to be here is awesome.
Anyway,
Always
Rob,
has been.
you've been a great asset to the show over the years, even though
And a great ass.
after a while you grew tired of the stunts that we loved you so much doing. I still think, Mike, here I am, again thinking about a show that I'll have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
But if Beth Ann ain't there, I'd say to the boy, you want to welcome yourself back to Fairfax, you put him in the outfit. You put him right in the middle of Main Street on Monday and have him out there doing some jumping jacks saying, listen to the new Mike O'Meara show.
Don, I really do have to tell you, I do have to do some bridge building with these guys, and I'm not sure whether that'll happen right away, but perhaps...
I always loved him in that role, though.
If I could find the proper outfit for him, maybe a top hat.
And nothing else.
A white tie and tails.
Like
a
the-
Chippendales outfit.
I'd like that.
Before he actually started caring about stuff. I remember when he would actually do anything. The only thing he wouldn't do was eat a bunch of peanut butter cups one day when his mom called the show and said,
At the request of my mother.
please don't make him do it.
And that's when Sharon first, her name was first brought up on the show.
Exactly.
That, and I think I began impersonating you at that point. Sharon doesn't want me to eat peanut butter.
The first impression is when you called Big Daddy and fooled him.
As you?
Yes.
Did he not like it?
No, he didn't care.
Okay.
But
All right,
I do
good.
recall, I think that it was great that you talked as me, and everyone in the family still remembers that Don called Big Daddy, my grandfather, old timer. Thanks for your time, old timer.
Well, boy, what can I say? We've since you joined the show, you are married.
Yes.
You have 2 wonderful kids.
Remember when I used to be fat?
You've slimmed down
And I
so dramatically.
I love your new commercials for the Rogaine. That's really working.
Isn't it?
Are you doing spots for Rogaine?
Yes, I am.
Will you write that down so I can talk about it?
Please.
All right.
Mike, just look at all the hair growing on his head.
Hasn't it improved?
This is the guy that fought us kicking and screaming, would
why?
not admit to the fact that he was going bald or even had a bald spot.
We didn't offer him a talent fee.
It's exactly right.
Jesus.
That's it.
Bring the checkbook next time, and we'll talk.
All right. So you bald bastard. There
Yes.
you are. You're married. You have 2 wonderful children.
The best.
You and your wife, even with all of your on-air BS, the thing that I admire about you most on a personal level is that your family always comes first.
Thank you.
And you've been through a lot of stuff with your family that you haven't talked about on the air. You've been very brave with that. And I'm exceedingly I'm sad, but I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm sad because of all the guys here on the show, and I'll categorize it like I have before. Buzz is a consummate broadcaster. Buzz is my broadcast buddy. If all hell goes to a handbasket, I look at Buzz, he'll save the day. Mike is like my brother.
Right.
I love you. You're my best friend.
Love you too.
And I will miss you in this regard that we've had such a good time doing this show, even with the ups and downs. And the reason that I've been able to keep a relationship with Rob while screaming at him on the air sometimes, telling him he's an idiot. I wish you would lose your job. I want you fired. You're dumb. You're incompetent. Rob always knew. First, he knew I was right. And second, he always knew that if it was on the air like that, good chance it was 50%
Right.
BS, 50% truth.
Right. And that tempered it, and there was a lot to be learned from it, and I think I have learned a lot.
But the main thing with you is that your sense of humor is incredible, and I will miss all the stuff that we do off the air much more than the on-air stuff. I will miss
the bathing.
I will miss the fact that I'll tell you, you give him a hard time.
I don't give him a hard
time.
No,
hold on.
None of us give anybody a hard time.
You give him
a hard time.
You give him a hard time about how he loves to hate.
Right.
But I love the fact that
he loves to hate. I know. It's one of the things you love about him.
On any given day, if I would come in and I'm just feeling not quite up to snuff for whatever reason,
he would give you a little hateful tidbit.
or there could just be someone outside. And he would say, hey, come here, I got something for you. And he'd say, look at that guy outside. And Rob would just start dissecting the person to the point where I would be laughing.
Right.
And Rob and I, more than anybody else, talk to each other as Larry King all the freaking time. We have so many stupid inside gags and inside jokes and calls to each other and vacations together and dinners together and doing favors for each other's families. And you're great. And I'm so glad that you were a part of the show.
Thank you.
You know, the thing about Rob is that Rob is a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
He is so family. He is so sweet to his family. He really is. I mean, and all of his family. I mean, he comes from divorced parents. He loves both of them beautifully. He loved his big daddy and, took care of his big daddy. But at the same time, that wonderful guy, it is a foot race if there is a celebrity that dies in the United States. And I was so proud. So proud.
So proud.
I believe it was over the weekend.
Yes.
When Charles, I was up very early.
Are you damn dirty apes?
And I get the little CNN bulletin.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
And I was able to send it to Rob. And
that was repayment for the email about Mrs. Yamin.
Ellie Yamin.
And we were not on the air, and I feel that we really should all extend a very heartfelt condolence to the Yamins. Of the Richmond Yamin.
I only saw the tease where they said, tragedy strikes at American Idol.
Yes. He looked okay last night, though.
Shut up.
Yes, Elliot.
He was in the audience last night. Anyone outside of this little circle, it's a very sick, dark, almost policeman kind of humor.
Too dark.
It's too dark, and it's because we,
right,
we
it's
deal
too
with
dark,
this
Robbie.
stuff every day.
Hi, this is Robert the Mailman.
And I'm sitting at the computer.
Like
with
Rob
this
says,
stuff.
let's keep it light and keep it white.
That's right.
Please.
Light and white equals right.
Out of sight.
He will sit there and send something on the computer, and if somebody else comes into the room when I'm reading it, it's a little,
It is.
I want to get it off the screen as quickly as possible.
But if I could just take one moment, if I can do this.
Sure.
I love all you guys very much, and I really have gone from a kid to what I am today because of you guys, and I've been with you as much as my family. I've known all of you longer than my wife even, and I've probably spent more hours with you than my wife.
Well, that is true.
And we fought less.
We all have.
Which is good. But anyone who's listening, anyone out there listening, guys, if I can offer one piece of advice, if you get the opportunity to work with your idols, do it, because it's awesome. It's really, really great.
Don, if you can indulge me so I can say one thing going forward.
Sure.
There was one criteria as far as going forward and doing what I was going to do, was I had to have all you guys with me. I had to have you. I had to have Buzz. How you doing, Joe? And
exactly.
Just the sound is good.
The sound
Joe.
of silence.
He's on the telephone.
He's on the telephone.
He's doing his
He's
job.
not listening. It doesn't matter.
Go to Walmart and get some.
Really?
Gotta get some peanut.
I'm not in it if these guys aren't coming along for the ride, because I mean, the hole that's going to be left here is going to be significant with Don leaving, and and I just I'm really glad.
It's like peas and carrots. You got to stay, Rob.
Yeah. Otherwise, really, the fun for me is watching you guys interact, poking fun at you, getting into fights with you guys. That's the whole thing. And that's, and we do that. We've been doing this for a long, long time. And I mean, you get a bond that you just cannot believe. So.
I really look forward to the future, but I'm also so pleased that you all let me be a part of this and honored. And, Don, I have to say,
yes,
thank you for everything. There's been so much that the listeners know about, but even more that they don't. And certain days that I couldn't have done without your advice and your counsel, because you just help me keep my head straight sometimes, and you understand so much. And thank you for everything, professionally, socially, personally. You're such a good guy, and thank you for everything.
Right back at you. I love you, Rob.
I love you, Don.
Good guy. Good guy. You've been my good friend my whole life. Now,
God, what a pussy.
Be 11, get out of here now. It's time for you to leave. Off you go.
Off you go.
Off you go.
There he goes.
Much love. Take your ascot. You should not have performed Dream On.
No, it was the ass.
Oh, that was a good moment. I really enjoyed that. I really
Big
did.
lug. You
have done a hell of a lot for him, and I've always told you.
And he for me.
So many times I've told you, don't stop doing. I said to both of you. I said to Rob, I said, stop giving to him.
Robb's a good friend. Rob's good, loyal friend.
Good people, glad to have them.
Yep.
And I'll continue being friends with Rob and Carrie long after this is done and gone. So I do thank, unlike Joe, I do thank you, Robbie.
Even with our dynamic here, there has to be one whipping boy.
He's not even paying attention.
He's not, no.
Joe.
We're simply pouring our hearts out here, and he's back there deciding what kind of peanuts he's going to buy at Walmart tonight. Are you still cutting your own hair, Joe?
Yeah, doesn't it look great?
Yeah, it looks great. Looked really nice at the JB Awards.
He's wearing that handsome T-shirt, isn't he, today?
I had more than one person come up and say, do you have a special Olympian at your table?
We do, yes.
Yes, we do. His name is Joe.
And he's a fighter.
He's a fighter. Fighter. Oh, Buzz Girdley.
Yeah, hi.
It's time to put Buzz on the old spick.
On the hot seat.
On the
spit.
Spick. Why say spit?
Yeah, she says it's spit.
It's barbecue spit.
Spit.
Hey, Rob, where's that Gonzalez?
Okay, stop it.
Oh, come on. No, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
No, he's back there. I mean, he's here, but he's gone.
We have to break before you talk to Buzz.
Look at him boss people around.
Listen to me.
You like that? That's nice. That's nice. That's good. Okay, you're right. You know why? It's your show.
Monday.
Mike O'Mara
Why do I think
show.
he's going to walk in on Monday?
It could happen.
Mike O'Mara show. Contractually, I can't. Mike O'Mara show.
Hey, what's a contract?
That's right.
Well.
Just kidding.
It's a rhetorical.
Hey, Mike, I'm talking to myself now. I'm going to be doing that now from now on. Hey, Mike, shut up. You stop talking like that right now. Okay, Mike. Hey, lighten up. No, you know what I'm talking about. Shut up. Okay.
Shut up.
Shut up, brother.
All right. Love you much, Rob. Hold on. We'll put Buzz under our hot reflective glare. We come right back.
This is the Don and Mike Show. This is the Don and Mike Show.
Come on, everyone. That 80's Enough reunion show is about to start. Oh, Mary, have you seen Nicholas?
He's up in his room sulking, Dad.
Yeah, he's still upset because Abby threw out his baseball cards.
Oh, well, maybe I should make him a sandwich.
Oh, Dad, that's your solution to everything.
Dad! Dad!
What?
8 is enough.
You know I love you girls. I want to thank Don and Mike I had a lot of fun here, and I didn't travel 3,000 miles to watch you lose, so that's why you won.
All right.
But I want to thank all of you for supporting the Children's Hospital. It's a very, very good cause, and it'll make us all much happier. Incidentally, Don and Mike, I think you're terrific on the radio. You have great wit and great energy, and you're fun to listen to. And I don't know how you do it for 3 or 4 hours like that and keep it going with that pace. You're really terrific, and I appreciate it. Everybody, have a good summer.
Thank you, Dick Van Patten. Thanks a lot, Dick.
The Don and Mike
Mike was so.
I'm on my second beer.
Hey, stop it now.
More like my fourth.
So out there.
All right. This would probably be a good time for a bowel movement.
Absolutely.
But there's no way we're playing Steely Dan on this last show. Yeah. That was the wrong cut.
Peg.
Nix that.
My pardon.
The Don and Mike Show.
Now we're rocking. No. Now we're rocking.
All right. A little quiet for Super Jock.
Hi, Ridge.
I'm responsible for anal leakage.
See ya so long.
That is so true, Dick.
It's where Joe Ardinger got his start. The Don and Mike Show.
Joe.
Right.
Smells like a bunch of farts got in a fight.
Vagina!
Thank you, Dave.
All right. Looks like baby vomit.
This is the final Don and Mike show of all time. The brand new Mike O'Mara show starts Monday on a lot of these same stations. So, don't be an ass. Listen. Okay?
Don't be an ass. Hey, how did you get our slogan?
Don't be an ass. Listen.
Don't be an ass. Listen.
Listens to Mike's show. Give him lots of good ratings.
Yeah. Oh, believe me, I need them now more than ever.
Make everything good. Hi there, Buzz.
Hi.
How the heck are you?
I'm doing all right.
Well, let's see, Buzz Burbank. Out of everybody in this room, I've known you the longest.
That's true. We've been through a lot together.
Yes, we have. Much like Robb,
Right.
Buzz. Now, I categorized people.
Right.
I didn't mean to imply that you were not my friend.
No, I didn't think of that.
You are a good friend, a close friend, and have been for over 25 years. Buzz is a broadcast buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 unique relationships with the guys on this show. Robb, as I mentioned, just a best friend, like goofing around. Mike, really like my brother. And Buzz is the guy that I would talk to with broadcasting stuff.
Yeah. Letterman to everything, radio, whatever.
Yeah, I would often run past Buzz.
How far do you guys go back? Is it Chicago? Is that when you first started working together?
83, 84?
82.
80, really?
Like
Wow.
1982.
Wow.
Yeah. Even, I remember, God, one of the best voices that Mike ever did was I was watching that Empire carpet guy. And I remember saying to Buzz, I should tell Mike to do that. That would be killer. And so I run it by Buzz, not knowing what Mike's going to do, just thinking we're going to make him like a perverted guy. And I loved that, Buzz, being able to run stuff off you.
Yeah.
And Buzz would go, oh, that sounds killer. Then come in, and this was the magic of the show, just saying to Mike, hey, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
That Empire carpet guy, just make him creepy, whatever you want to do. I mean, it turns out we could never do it again because they almost canceled the account.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sadly.
You might be aware of this. They do a significant amount of advertising.
But it was always my pleasure to...
They didn't like that thing about the shallow graves.
Always my pleasure to talk about broadcasting with Buzz.
Me too.
Been a friend for a long time, going all the way back to Chicago, as Mike mentioned, where we had been through ups and downs that led to ups and downs that you and I went through, Mike. Stuff with the idiot program director screaming at us and to be unhappy that we were friends, like we're friends now. I mean, he didn't get the fact that when people work together, if they enjoy each other's company,
they hang out.
That's a good thing.
Right.
You saved my ass on more than one occasion, especially back then, when I would be walking on a tightrope with no delay,
right.
And quite often would take unscreened phone calls when I was not allowed to, and on more than one time had Buzz just have to save my ass because I would just have a caller dying and the record's running out and we got to go play the jingle that says it's time for the weather, and I've got a newscast that I missed, and Buzz would, on more than one occasion, virtually eat the bullet, go to the program director and say, no, it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just sit there and go, hey, you're right.
And that was fun.
And it was.
No, it was.
But
it really was.
It was
fun because he would be that upset,
and we were sticking it to the man, which is what we did, and that was fun.
And you're a great pro, and
the most unflappable guy in this building. There's no doubt about it. I mean, a guy that deals with everything we throw at him, and he doesn't blink, and he hasn't blinked forever. It's
Wouldn't
fantastic.
trade it.
And I respect you because, as the time is doled out on this radio show, between me flapping my gums and Mike talking, and God knows Robb has talked excessively over the years. Quite often it would come down to Buzz's news, and a lot of people would think that Mike and I would cut Buzz off, that we were railroading his segments. We were just trying to make the show listenable, so that it wasn't a straight news presentation.
Right.
The one thing, and I know you will continue to give Buzz this leeway, is that the news that Buzz presents is Buzz's news from Buzz's point of view, and he and I came to an understanding 5-6 years ago where I was going to stop babysitting the news and say, let's hear what's coming up today. Finally just said to him, whatever you think is best, however, know that if you do a story and a fact is wrong or Mike and I just wholeheartedly disagree, we're going to come after you.
Sure.
And rather than say, oh, no, I'll do it the safe way, Buzz embraced the fact to write his own material.
Absolutely.
And quite often you wrote funny stuff. A lot of people think that your stuff went unnoticed by Mike and I.
No.
It did not go unnoticed by I.
I knew that.
By us. By
I think the world knows you have an agenda, Mr. Burbank.
I don't know what you're talking
but
about.
It's a fun agenda, and you're passionate about certain issues. You're passionate about certain causes. And we've busted your chops about that. But, I think in any business, in anything for that matter, professional, you want consistency. And Buzz is consistent each and every day. He truly is.
In a world where people change a lot, you don't change.
Not much. No.
I was looking at a photo album with Jan the other night, and I know we've mentioned these pictures before, but they are truly hilarious. From 1982, when I took Buzz to a Packers game in Milwaukee.
Right.
And these pictures show
Buzz,
this,
not the biggest sports fan in the world.
Right.
it looks like a hippie that's been dropped into the middle of a sporting event. And really, the look on his face says, I'm trying to have a good time.
Where am I? What am I doing
But
here?
really, what you were saying to me really was, when can we leave and go get high?
You could tell?
That was the truth. But I loved doing those types of things with you, Buzz. That as much as I would socialize with Rob and with Mike, Buzz and Marcia for a long time, especially when Frieda was alive, were our go-to couple. And it was a chance to let down our hair and talk about things and say things that we knew would not be repeated. And for that, I thank you. You're a good friend. You're a great broadcaster, and I wish you nothing but the best, and I love you.
Well, I love you, too. I don't even know where to start. The challenges that we've faced together over the years, I think have made me a better broadcaster. Watching you guys has made me a better broadcaster. Someday that will become apparent. I think, and it's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of great talks. I remember all the fun we had all the way back to Chicago. You remember the time we lifted the Volkswagen? That you talked about the time we hung out with.
Now, when you say lifted the Volkswagen, are you talking about stealing it?
No. No.
The car was parked in a place it shouldn't have been parked.
Sloppily parked, and because it was a Volkswagen. And because
that's back in the early days when you boys were weightlifters.
That's right. That's right. We actually picked it up by the bumper and moved it.
We just picked it up and moved it.
Mm-hmm.
Were you high?
Yes.
Thought we were on our way.
Back then, every day we were.
Either way.
We had a 6 a.m. meeting in the stairwells at CBS.
Now, we've had a lot of great talks, and we've spent a lot of time together. Like I said, been through a lot together, and I really have learned a lot. You have taught me so much, both on and off the air. I can never thank you enough for that. I can never thank you enough for the entire ride. It's been great.
There's a moment that I will never forget about Buzz, that when we were up there 9/11, and we don't talk about it a lot.
No.
The fact that we were on the air when both towers came down up in New York City, and we were broadcasting from the studios at WNEW. And all I remember is what people asked me when I came back, and they said, "What were you thinking about?" And I said, "I was thinking about my own ass."
Yeah.
And we all were. We were thinking about the fact that, they'd hit the Pentagon,
under attack.
They'd hit the financial district, and then they were going to hit media next.
Right.
And we were in the same building as the all news station, and we said, all the creaks that we would hear and the bangs. It was a nervous time. I think I don't know how many hours were we on the air that day?
That first day, like 10 hours.
Yeah, we were on all day. It seemed like, and Buzz and I. This was not a marijuana cigarette, I should say, but the other kind.
Sure, Mike.
Out in the stairwell.
Yes.
You and I.
Right.
That's the only place we could go.
Chain smoking.
It's just chain smoke. We would rotate, right? Because we weren't taking commercial breaks, and we would rotate, and everybody would run out and do whatever. And I'll never forget that, because Buzz was handling that, and it really reinforced to me what you're capable of doing. And because that day, more than any other, you're sitting there trying to get it from the wire service, from the two TV monitors, people calling on the phone, and you handled it, and it was superlative.
And we were not from New York, shocked, and we really didn't know our way around town beyond our hotel or the apartment we leased to the radio station. About that day, that was an awful day for America, but I remember something. I'm very proud of our show in this regard. When I got the phone call from Jeremy, another one of the fabulous gays we've had working on this show.
You okay, Mike?
I will miss the fact that he always says something like that when I have a mouthful of water.
It's timing.
Right.
He called me up and said, listen, the second plane has hit the World Trade Center. Get your ass down here.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you remember this or not, Mike. We were in Ken Stevens' office.
I remember it vividly.
And I walked in, and I said not pompously, because at that point we didn't really know what was happening yet. We didn't know that it was terrorists. We didn't know that thousands of people were dead.
Right.
We just knew that something happened with planes going into buildings. I remember going into Ken, and there was that lady from WYSP.
Mm-hmm.
They were having a meeting, and the meeting was stopped. And I walked in, I said, this is an awful thing to say at this time. But with these guys that I've got, we can handle this right now. You should put us on the air.
This is the team that should be on the air.
Put us on right now, because we can handle it.
And we did.
And we did. Mm-hmm. And you were a big part of that, Buzz. We've had a lot of stuff. Take away the tragedy of losing Frieda, which was something that I dealt with on the show. We've had a lot of situations come up where we've had to get serious, for all the way from the Challenger to to this 9/11 crap to the sniper in D.C.
Yes.
And Buzz has always been our go-to when it gets serious. And for that, I thank you as well.
Well, I thank you.
And Mike's right on 9/11. It was at an awful time for America. You rose to the occasion, and it was a good time for our show. And I don't mean a good time like a jolly good time.
No.
I mean a time that I'm proudest of.
I am extraordinarily proud of that. I'm extraordinarily proud of the the space shuttle show that we did that day, because I mean you're talking about a type of radio that's done, and suddenly you have to switch gears immediately.
Yeah.
Because nobody's making jokes at that point. You're dealing with really what the medium in its infancy was meant to do.
Horrible.
Inform and get the word out. And we did that. We didn't
And
we didn't do just one show. We
No.
did all those shows that week up in New York City. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget how close we all became. At least that's the way I felt. I mean,
Well,
at
I
that
remember-
particular time, we were driving out of New York City.
What about when we drove back into D.C. when we saw the tanks by the Pentagon? And we had not seen any of that because we had been in New York, and we had thought when we came back home that things would be normal.
Well, I
Back
see.
home
It's
to
funny
DC.
because when you say that, I kind of go the opposite direction. I came out. We got out of New York City with a town car. We weren't able to get a train. Weren't able to get a plane. That's the only way we could get out was to hire a car to take us out. And I remember going through the Lincoln Tunnel, and we were so goofy because we had been logging a lot of hours. But we all looked, and we simultaneously, and I don't know if you remember this, Buzz,
Yes.
we looked at the skyline.
Yeah.
And, that skyline, which was just the most dramatic thing I've ever gone through. And, we all experienced that together. We were there. Weren't we planning on coming back, going up doing 2 shows, coming back, I think,
Yeah,
Tuesday and Wednesday, and coming back Wednesday night?
Stayed the whole week up
And
there.
we stayed the whole week up there. And I'll never forget how I was incredibly proud of everybody on this broadcast.
Yeah.
And, it's moments like that.
That was the real teamwork. I mean, that was a moment of real teamwork. It existed through the entire life of the show, but that particular week, we were tight.
We've got a news operation straight up above us that's got every resource known to mankind. They're not sharing it with us. We're doing it with smoke and mirrors.
We did as well or better than they did.
And we did. And then weaving the phone calls in on that too. I became very aware, not that I wasn't before, of everybody's professionalism. I knew, Don and I always prided ourselves on one thing, that when the event would come down, when there'd be the show that we had to rally for because the suits were in town or anything, those were always the best shows that we did. It was always that way, and that never changed through 20-plus years. And, you're a big part of that too, Buzz. And
I appreciate that. We're all professional broadcasters, and I couldn't have had the opportunity to perform that function if it hadn't been for this show and the profile that this show has given me. Don, you have, although I feel I have a moderate amount of talent, you've made a career possible for me. And your support, yours and Mike's, but yours in particular, has meant more to me than you can possibly know. And I want to just a final word to people who didn't get the interruptions in the news. That was to entertain people and to keep it interesting and to give it texture, and it did. And I couldn't have filled that time without it. And it did make it interesting, and it did make it fun. And ever since the mid-'80s, radio stations haven't even been required to have news. So the fact that I'm doing news on a comedy show is not only rare, but it's a privilege and an honor. And every minute I got was bonus for me, and I thank you for it.
And we thank you for always being a pro. And I'll miss you, Buzz.
I'll miss you.
I'll miss you. And,
very much.
Don't be a stranger.
No, you either.
You and Marsha always welcome.
Thank you.
Now, off you go.
All right.
See you Monday.
Godspeed.
Frankly, I thought it was rather pitchy.
I didn't really think that he finished it as strongly as he began it.
I didn't think
it was kind of cabaret.
I didn't think his choice of farewell speeches was perhaps the best. You might want to think about that, Buzz.
I think that's the kind of farewell speech you would hear on any cruise ship. I heard Rob.
Boo.
I heard it. I'm talking.
Boo.
I'm talking.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Oh, or his latest that I just had to mention to you. Sorry.
No, he's
his new thing is sorry when he gets done lambasting somebody.
No, he's
sorry.
not, though. Did you see it 2 weeks ago when one of those jive questions, the phone-in questions?
Oh, why does he say he's sorry?
Why do you say you're sorry before you tell somebody?
Well, I'm going to stop now. Sorry. Sorry. Yes.
And Jimmy Kimmel, I like Jay Leno.
Yeah, that's his big comeback.
Yeah, way to sock Jimmy Kimmel in the balls, huh?
That was the only funny part. Jimmy Kimmel was on fire.
Hey, look at that now. It's just you and me now.
Just like it's always been.
Just you and me.
Just like it's always been.
All right, Buzz.
Starting in a hotel room in Annapolis, Maryland, with Smokey Rivers and Alan Goodman.
Many hotel rooms, Mike.
Many, many hotel rooms over the years.
Do you remember the Holiday Inn by Andrews Air Force Base?
I remember that like it was yesterday. I remember that was a double special day.
Do you remember the interior of that room? It was brick.
Let me just
Big
make
industrial
sure.
brick painted white.
Let me make sure that I've got the right place
Oh,
and the right time. Would this be a room where you and I were kind of fighting over who got the main part of the salon and who got the water closet?
Someone had to sleep in the bed, and someone had to sleep in the bathtub. And we were both mighty effed up. And
we knew at that point that we had a partnership. You can't do that and not have a partnership.
We were just barely working together, and we were so drunk. We had done an appearance at this Holiday Inn bar,
right?
And they spiffed us one room, and we'd been working together a couple of weeks, and we got up there, and we immediately stripped down to just like our underwear, and both go for the bed when it was like a planes, trains, and automobiles moment.
And really, we determined at that point, with our comfort zone, we were not going to share a bed.
We can't.
No
sleep,
matter what.
We can't sleep together. I believe I slept in the bathtub that night.
Yes, and I was very, very grateful. It was some sort of, rock, paper, scissors. I don't know. It was some sort of arrangement like that. We wagered, and I don't know exactly what. Or perhaps maybe in our current state, I said, we'll do shifts. I don't remember. But there were many, many hotel rooms over the years. Many room service meals, many flights, and I know we've got time, but I will say this as a thank you over the years. This is one of my big ones for you. Thank you so much for being an ear for me because I was a phobic flyer, and because I was a phobic flyer,
Look how far we've come, Mike, as Matchbox 2.0 sings.
Yes.
Look at you now flying and everything.
I don't fly as tough as I used to.
I know you don't.
I used to be terrified. As a matter of fact, later on, I will share with you a story that I probably have never shared on the air. I really don't think I have. You know the story, but it's a story of a little boy who was afraid to fly and his friends who tried to calm him down and how that backfired. But this was, all those trips, especially across the country, where I'd have those little airline bottles and I'd want to chat. And really, as far as I'm concerned, the best way to make a cross-country flight work and rock is to talk. Makes the time fly for me. You, on the other hand, you get on a plane.
Like to sleep.
You want to sleep immediately. I'm jealous. You've always been able to sleep on an airplane, but for all those times you would humor me. And quite often I would be in mid-sentence and say, yeah, well, when my father and I were Red Sox fans, and I'd look over and you'd have your mouth open just going... And you had nodded out. I don't know. Really, the miles we've traveled. Jesus.
I also remember you coming out of the hotel in Dallas.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
That was another. See, Mike and I right now, what we're doing is we're
doing this for each other. We're telling stories to a point.
We're playing a very dangerous game of ping pong here.
I had picked up 2 gifts at this hotel in Dallas, and I had taken the gifts around town to Dallas. And when I came back to the hotel, I still had my gifts. And Alan Goodman and Dom were coming out of the hotel. And I believe that I held the gifts closely.
These gifts, incidentally, were breathing people.
That makes it sound like hookers, and it's not. That's
they
not
weren't.
true.
You
that's
went
not
out
true at all.
And on your own, Mike was single at the time.
Right.
Came back to the hotel with 2 chicks. I'm standing there with Alan Goodman.
And I'd had a few cocktails, and I'm with these women, and I became very territorial. And didn't I look at both of you in a very gracious way, say, "They're mine, stay away"?
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Well, I'd worked hard during the course of the evening, and it was, time to retire, and I thought it was time to get back to the hotel. I don't know where you two were going.
Gee, where do you think we were going, Mike? Where do you think we were going?
I have no idea. We
were
haven't
going
even
to the drugstore.
We haven't even opened the Alan Goodman box.
I don't know if we have time to open that.
I don't
box
think we
today.
do. I don't think we do.
I think we've opened that box plenty of times. Listen, we got a break right here. We'll come right back. Thank you so much for listening. This is the last Don and Mike Show. We'll be right back.
This is the Don and Mike Show.